Today is Friday. So what I plan to do today is can bone broth, but gotta make the bone broth first. I am going to use my T-Fal Pressure Cooker to make the bone broth for the beef bone broth because those bones are huge. Let me get them. Here they are. You can't really see them because they're frozen, they're in a bag, but let me take one out. Beef bones. And that came from beef ribs that I made last year. No, actually that was at the beginning of the year. So I froze them because I knew that it would be broth time coming up soon. So I'm going to turn my oven on 400. I'm going to roast my bones, roast them to get them brown. And then after I roast my bones, I will put them in my T-Fal Pressure Cooker. And we are going to pressure cook these bones for about 4 hours. We're gonna do a process of cooking them 2 hours for the first round. And that will be with just the bones and water and some of my seasonings. And then we're gonna let that cool down, or not cool down, but we're gonna let the temp go down on the pressure cooker. And we're gonna open it up, and then we're gonna throw all of our veggies in there to make it taste even better. And we're gonna cook that for 2.5 hours with the veggies in it. And then once that's done, we're gonna let the temp come down. We are going to take the beef broth and we're gonna strain it, and then we're going to cool it and put it in our quart jars. So whenever we need beef broth, guess what? We'll be able to go and get it out of our jars. I'm also gonna try to, at the same time, take my bones for my chicken and make a chicken broth, so that when I put my quart jars inside of my T-Fal canner, I will be canning not only beef broth, but I will be canning chicken broth as well. So we're gonna do a dual pressure cooking. I think I'm fancy, y'all. So stay tuned and see what happens. Hey guys, the funniest thing just happened. I have been what I thought was roasting beef bones. I was unthawing slices of brisket. So I was like, this is too much meat to be on these bones. I'm gonna have to scrape some of these bones and make a barbecue sandwich or something. Opened up that oven, just pure, delicious slices of brisket. So I went to my deep freezer and I did find the beef bones. I'm about to pull the brisket out and put that in a container because we are having that tonight. So, got my beef bones now, and I have my chicken bones, and I don't have my Emeril Lagasse Pressure Cooker set up yet, but I'm about to do that. But I just wanted to show you guys these herbs that I have out. So, this is what we're going to use in our bone broth. Of course, here are tomato skins that I froze. Yes, I did make sure they were tomato skins from my water bath canning this year. I was throwing them away, but at some point I was like, wait a minute, what are you doing? You should keep that. So here they are, the few that I did salvage. I will be adding some basil, some rosemary. All of these things I just washed. Parsley. And this is for celery stalk. So I'm going to put the little leaves from the celery stalk and everything. And I rummaged around in the fridge and I found some cilantro, a little bit, that I'm going to divide up in my beef broth and my chicken broth. So that's what we have. Along with, oh, I forgot to tell you guys. I think you cannot see it, but I'm a little disorganized today. So we have poblano chilies, ginger, shallot, garlic. That's a half a head of garlic that's going to be divided. 4 bay leaves, a lemon that is separated and going to be added to both. Half an onion that I quartered that is going to be added to both, and 3 carrots that I washed. I did not peel them. I just washed them very well. So that's what we're going to be doing. Now I need to take the brisket fillets out and add the real bones in there. So now we actually have the real bones, beef bones in the oven roasting and not brisket slices. I have started my process for my chicken broth in my Emeril Lagasse Pressure Cooker. I have 4 frozen breasts and some chicken bones, thigh bones in that processor. I filled it just about full to the full level, but not all the way, because now I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of aminos. I'm going to add 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. I'm going to add a teaspoon of salt, a dash of pepper, a couple of cubes of my garlic, a couple of slices of my shallot, and a lemon. The other things I will add later after the second turn of the processing for this broth. Okay, so we have the Emeril Lagasse cooker going, and now I'm getting ready to start the process for the bones for the beef. I've warmed the beef bones up, let them roast at 400 degrees, and now we're going to take them out of the oven. We're going to add about that much water. You can't see it, but there is a small line right here on the canner. So I'm gonna go probably right here where the line is. I'm gonna fill that up with water, and then I'm gonna put my bones inside of there. And same thing with and so it will be the same thing with the chicken. I will put the bones in there. I will add the garlic and ginger and all of that, onion and a tomato, lemon, half a lemon, my bay leaves, and let's get started with that. Let's go ahead and fill it up. I've already checked my T-Fal canner, because remember I said whenever you get ready to use your T-Fal canner, you must go through checks and balances. You do not want to start using your canners without making sure everything is ready to go, that the ball is floating a little bit, that there's no debris stuck into your steamer, your steam valve. All of those things will keep you safe if you follow the instructions of T-Fal. So let's get the water in. And we're going to start with cold water. Cold water is the best thing to start with when you are doing bone broth. I fill my pot with water, and let me just tell you something. That is almost like an ab workout. So we're going to now turn our pot on. We're going to put our bones in. Nicely roasted bones. bones and steak bones. It looks like I got a couple of chicken bones in here. I do a couple of chicken rib tips, a couple of chicken tips, and I'm gonna go ahead and use them in this broth. I won't tell if you won't tell. Chicken tips. Put this over to the side so we can clean it later. Now we're going to add our garlic pieces, a couple of wedges of shallot, my other half of the lemon that we are using, 2 bay leaves, half of an onion. I'm going to cut that up a little bit more. 4/4. 3 cloves of garlic. We're going to put our poblano in there, and I think that's it. You know what? I'm going to go ahead and add some tomato slices or my peels in here as well while we get started. Same thing with that one. Our chicken, we're going to measure some aminos in it, 4 tablespoons, and I go by squirts. 1, 2, 3, 4. Teaspoon of pepper. And again, I say this is the best thing about making your own broth is you get to determine how much salt you want in it. I'm going to do 2 tablespoons of salt because remember, this is a big batch. This is huge. So that amount of salt that I'm adding to it really is nothing compared to the salt that you would get if you were buying it from the grocery store. Tablespoon of apple cider vinegar. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar. We're gonna put our lid on. And remember, now we're following directions as if we're processing something for 2 hours. Now we're going to line our arrows up. We're going to twist it and lock it in place. We're going to turn it up. And this we are cooking on number 2. So here we go, guys. And why we're processing this in 2 intervals is because typically it takes 48 hours to make a really good bone broth. And if you want to speed up that process so that you can pull all of that gelatin out of the bones, then this is probably going to be our best way to do it. Because typically, like I said, if I'm making bone broth, I will cook that bone broth for 48 hours. It is just left simmering on the stove that entire time. So we got our fingers crossed that this is going to be our saving grace. We have a continuous steam coming out. We've heard the sound. And now we're going to just turn it on. And we are going to stay in the number 2 cooking area. That's our cooking zone. We're going to stay in the number 2 cooking zone. So, and just to be clear, we are still processing our chicken in the Emeril Lagasse Pressure Cooker. So we are going to be checking on that in a few minutes as well. And all of you guys know me, you know that even though I am feeling just a little bit more comfortable with using my pressure cooker, I'm not going to stay in the kitchen while this is going on. I'm going to come back and check it periodically because I'm still kind of scared. We're lifting this lid away from us. Ooh. That's what's up. I'm excited. So I'm going to take a spoon, stir it up. Oh man. Oh, that smells awesome. So I'm going to bring you over here and show you what's going on in the Instant Pot. So this is what's going on in the Instant Pot. We got our broth going. Our chicken has fully cooked. And oh my goodness, it just looks delicious. Now it is time for me to add the veggies. So we're gonna add our aromatics and our veggies. Let's put our wine over here. We're not drinking Jameson today. 1 poblano. Half of our carrots. Some shallots. Yum. A couple of scallions. We're going to take our Brussels sprouts and we're going to quarter them. We're going to chop our scallions up too. Let's do that. That'll be a good thing so they can fit down in there. Take some cilantro, some of our celery, some parsley, and some bay leaves. Oh, let's not forget a sprig of rosemary. Yum. We're going to taste it right now and see if we need anything else. So right now, I am putting 2 Brussels sprouts in. Taste our broth and let's see what we got. Oh my God, y'all. That's pretty damn tasty. That's delicious. Now at this point, I'm going to add my secret weapon, which you already know what it is a bouillon cube. 1 bouillon cube. We're going to go in and we're going to set our timer for 2 hours now for the rest of the cooking. So let's go set. Pressure. Custom. We're going to do timer. Two hours. So now we have our Emeril Lagasse going for 2 hours. We're going to cook our chicken broth. We got our beef broth going, and we have 2 hours left to go on that for our first cycle. Hi. Now that everything is kind of calming down, I'm waiting for my beef broth to finish up. We got an hour and 50 minutes Today is like the best day for me because it's Friday and I don't work on Fridays. But just to give you a little insight about my family is I do a lot of cooking. And what people can tell you is that no matter what happens in their life, they don't have any money, they don't have any food, the one thing that they can rest assured is that they can come to our house and get a plate. Even if I haven't cooked anything for that day, even if it's something that they do not want, I ask them what they want and I commence to cooking it because I love it. It brings me such joy. So, as I said before, I cannot wait until I take the lid off of this beef broth, these bones going, because it smells incredible. After we finish all of this, we're going to strain everything with a cheesecloth. We're going to strain it into another pot. We can begin to can it. Yes. We're doing all of that today, shawty. We're doing it all today. So just sit back and relax. We may have a little hiccups because we're going to have guests here and there or whatever. But we're going to get it all done today. That's why I'm so excited. It's because typically it takes me 48 hours to make bone broth. And then what I would have done before starting to can is put it in plastic bags and freeze it.